In this video, I'll show you how to add an AI chatbot to your Shopify store quickly and easily. This chatbot will know everything about your business and will be able to talk to your customers just like a regular person and answer all of their questions. The first thing that we need to do is open up Elfsight. This is the tool that we will be using to build the widget, and I've linked it in the description below. Go ahead and click on that link and it will take you straight over to this page. This link also ensures that everything connects properly when we embed it. From here, just enter your email into this box to sign up for free, and then on this next page, create your password. Just like that, we are signed up and ready to go. Okay, so once we have access to Elfsight and all of the Elfsight widgets, the widget that we are looking for is the AI chatbot widget. So to find this, we just want to go to search widgets in this top corner and type in AI. And right here, we can see we have the AI chatbot widget. So we can go ahead and click into this. And it's now going to ask us to choose a template. Now, there is a lot of templates in here, but it makes no difference which template you choose because all of these are completely customizable, and we are going to be setting this with your business information. So you can change the colors. Even though this is an insurance chatbot, you can change it to be whatever you like. So we can go in and just select any of these. So I'm just going to select this top one and click continue with this template. And then in here where it says create your assistant, the first thing that we need to do is add our website URL. The reason that we do this is because the AI chatbot is then going to essentially scrape your website homepage and get information from there. So we can go over and we can grab the URL. Now, mine is not going to be the most in detail because this is simply a template, but with your website, you should have some information on here. You should actually be selling things and having things listed. So it's going to grab all the information from there. We can click on analyze, and what it's also going to do as well when this loads in is it's going to change the color scheme to actually fit our website even more. So we just wait a few seconds for it to scan the homepage right here. And just like that, this is now complete. And as you can see, these colors have been changed to green to fit our website. From here, we then need to go in and train the assistant because the only information that it knows right now is just what is on this homepage. It doesn't really know anything more. So we have a few different options on how we can train the chatbot right here. The first is web pages. So we want to go to each of the pages on our store because right now it only has the home page. So we could go to the catalog page right here, add web page and add this in. We can then go over to the contact page, grab the URL and paste this in. And now it's going to know all of the information on each of these pages as well. Next, we have files, and this is where you can add in a document. So the use case of this would be if you had a document that outlined your entire business and gives the AI more information. Of course, this is not something you're just going to have. You would have to create this, but that's what files is for. We can then go to questions and answers, and in here, this is where we can manually train the chatbot and give it any questions and answers. So we can click in, and you really don't have to be too cautious about the wording here because this AI is very smart, and I'll show you a live example of this. So the question that somebody might ask is, what are your shipping times? And then in here, for the answer, we could just say 3 to 5 days in the USA. And then we could say 10 days internationally. And as I say, the AI is smart. So it's not just going to drop this answer. It's going to word it a lot better than we have right here. So we can click on done. And then to show you how this actually works, we can see this live. So we can go in and we can say, what are your shipping times? And then just like this, the AI is now going to reply within the USA 3 to 5 days, internationally 10 days. I'll also add that if somebody asks any variation of this question, it doesn't have to be worded the exact same. They're still going to get the same answer. So we can fill in the Q&A right there. And then we also have this text block where we can just go in and we can add as much information as we can about the business to train this AI chatbot. So that is the knowledge base. We can then come down to assistant behavior right here, and we can set this up to give follow-up messages and collect leads for us. So in collect contacts, we can select when should the contact form appear. By default, this is after the assistant's first reply. So as we saw earlier, I just go and ask one of these questions. They ask a question, the AI is then going to reply, and then it's going to give, I'll just show you right here, and it's going to give one of these contact forms. So that's after the first reply. We can choose if we want to show this optionally before the chat or do not show the form. We then have the form fields that we can set up right here as well, and we can choose any of these. We can choose the messages that it shows up at the bottom, and that's how we can collect contacts. We can then go into follow-up messages, and what this is this is automatically going to send a message after 5 minutes of inactivity on the user's end. So we can choose if we want this on or off, and then we can change what this message is going to say after 5 minutes of inactivity. And then we also have assistant instructions. I wouldn't really play around with this because this is already going to be set up and created from the knowledge base. So that's training. We can then go down to greeting and we can choose the welcome message that shows up right here. We can then choose the quick replies. So what are the questions that show up that people can click into right here and get an instant response? We can either click in and edit these, or we can delete and we can add in new replies right here. We can then choose the greetings display. So is this above the chat bubble like this? Is this above the chat bubble after a delay? Or is this in the window right here? We can then go down to general, and in here we can set up things like the assistant profile. So we can click in and we can maybe give this a name. So let's call this Leon AI. We can then add a caption as well. So we could say our AI assistant. We can add a profile picture if we would like. We can then choose the bubble icon that's going to show up right here. So we can go in and we can change this to any of these other options. We can then choose the bubble position and where this is going to show up on the site. We can choose if we want to send the chat history to one of your emails. So anytime somebody has a conversation with the AI chatbot, we can choose if we want to get this emailed and which email we want to receive this to. For the footer, we can have this on or off. It's just going to give a little bit of information right here, and we can choose what this says. We can then choose the language, we can choose the time zone and things like this, and that is general. And then the last thing that we can do is we can go into the theme, and in here we can play around with how this is going to look. So I think this one looks awesome. We can choose the accent color, which I'm not going to change because it fits my website, and we can also choose the font. Now, once we have the AI chatbot created, all we now have to do is click on publish. And Elfsight is going to take us over to this screen where we can now choose a plan. And now we have a few different plans in here. As you can see with the basic, this is going to allow us up to 300 messages per month. It's also going to allow us up to 5,000 views and 20 million character storage. With the Pro, this is going to allow up to 1,000 messages per month with 50,000 views, so on and so forth. You just choose the plan that fits your website. Once your plan has been selected, Elfsight is then going to give us this piece of code. And this code is how we are going to embed the chatbot onto our Shopify store. So all we need to do is click on copy code right here, and then we can go over to Shopify. Once we are in the editor, we just go down to add section right here. And the section that we are looking for is called custom liquid. So we can type this in and select custom liquid. Then right here in liquid code, we just paste in the code that we just copied. And this is now going to be added as we can see it right here. So we can open this up. This is now on our store. And that is how you can add an AI chatbot to your Shopify store.